Welcome back to the OTB Podcast, the original and still the best New Zealand mountain bike podcast, brought to you by Maxxis Tyres and Fox Suspension, the winning combo of both elite men and women this week, with the Santa Cruz Syndicate taking a pretty impressive 1-1 in both fields there. There's been some sneaky new tyres I've seen appearing. Looks like Maxxis might have a prototype in the works, but that's honestly about as far as I know on that one, so I can't actually tell you anymore, but looks good. Also, you've probably seen that the new Fox Podium inverted fork has been launched to the public and is out there in the wild. Just had one arrive on my doorstep today, so I'm looking forward to, well, I've got it on the bike, just looking forward to getting it out there and actually going for a ride and testing that bad boy out. But man, it looks good. And that's all that really matters at this stage. Where were we in the weekend? Thuile. Man, that track looked awesome. And joining us this week, Wyn Masters. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, cheers guys. Good to be back on the show and straight from Thuile, off to Andorra today. So yeah, back home for 1.5 days, and then we're straight back into it.
Just getting it done with the dad life, staying home and getting that done. I can relate to it.
Yeah, two nights at home is still 2 nights at home.
Yeah, so exactly.
Yeah.
It's probably better than sleeping in a shitty hotel room in the middle of nowhere. I'm sure you've done plenty of that in your time. Well, I know you've done plenty of that in your time.
Yeah. No, we've been doing a good job of booking good places at the events this year because we don't have a pit space, so we just book the best hotel that's the closest.
Got some more budget for the hotel.
Yeah, rather than giving the money to the UCI World Series, we just get better hotels. So been living pretty well, I think. And
it's a good move.
Not too bad. Yeah.
How are you doing pits then?
Normally in a garage at the hotel or wherever we can.
That's awesome.
So we just wing it really, and it normally works, but it's not too bad. You don't really need a big pit space when you've only got a couple of people.
It's good as well though, because if the hotel's got a chef or a restaurant, then you've got a team chef everywhere you go.
Yeah, so some of them do and some of them don't. In Thuile, we had a last-minute booking because I wasn't actually going to do Thuile, and then I just changed my mind because I couldn't get an entry for Leogang on the Federation jersey. They wouldn't give me one, so they allocate those pretty early for some reason, which is quite mental.
Surprising for Cycling New Zealand because they don't really do anything quickly normally.
Well, actually, Kashi, shout out to Kashi, he does all of that and deals with all of the emails for that as a volunteer. So,
wow, that's why it's getting done.
Yeah, shout out Kashi for all your efforts making it work. And yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't get in for Leogang. I was like, I wanted to do Leogang, then I was like, oh, well, I can't get in for that. I'll do Val de Sol and Thuile, and I probably would have rather done Leogang than Val de Sol, to be honest. But then Thuile was awesome, so yeah, brand new track, super gnarly. It got like Val de Sol after a few runs, and it was just proper race. So it was good to get in for that one.
Before we get too far into it, you announced your new deal with Focus. Was that Val de Sol or was that before Thuile?
That was in Val de Sol. I announced the deal.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's I imagine that's a pretty natural move between a former PON business with GT through to Focus. Is that kind of how obviously all that sort of slipped over?
It would seem like, but it's not. So it's like starting on a new company completely. They are PON as well, but it was like first I had to be terminated from the GT contract, which Jason, my previous boss at GT, was pretty good to me and got me some extra months payment, 2 extra months of payment, so that helped.
Nice.
And that got me through to June, and then got a completely new contract, and we had to fully negotiate, do everything again with Focus. So it's like just starting a new brand completely, even though we're in the same group. The only benefit to being in the same group at the moment that I can see is that it's possible to use the mold from the GT downhill frame because GT's not going to work anymore as a brand.
Yeah.
So we can use that GT downhill frame and put not a Focus or whatever we want on it and paint it and Focus's colours. And
Sweet.
maybe it's going to be called the Focus Gary. So, yeah.
I hope so, because when they've got like Sam's and all these names like that, like a Gary just fits perfectly.
Yeah, Gary. And it'll just be for the riders that ride for them. So that works good. People are all like, oh, why don't they have a downhill bike? I'm like, why would they have a downhill bike at this point? Like, you've got
they
their
sell
brand
so many
portfolio.
bikes without having a downhill bike. They've got no worries.
Yeah, the downhill bike is not the bike you rush to sell. So,
No.
We'll keep riding that, and
Nice.
I think that should work well. Then I don't have to change bikes, and I don't do actually in the grand scheme of things. I don't do that many downhill races, so it's all good. Yeah.
Speaking of downhill races, and you doing downhill races, how has this season been going for you? Like, you haven't made a finals yet, but there's a lot of people that haven't made finals because holy fuck, it's gnarly. But you've been putting in some fucking legit times for the oldest guy out there. How you been feeling? Like, do you still feel competitive? Like, obviously you've still got a lot of speed.
And Valdesol, definitely not. I was just surviving. I haven't done enough prep to race something like that. So then that was kind of just getting prep for Le Thuile. And then in Le Thuile, it was getting better on the last day. Like, I need to get to where I was at on the finals day, or on the Q2 run. I needed to get to there in time training, but then to do that, so much risk.
First day of practice, that's gnarly.
And I don't really risk it like that anymore so much.
No.
So it's not gonna. The reward is not that high. So I'm not risking it like I used to, but you kind of have to, because you've got to be up to speed for that first time training session generally, and then you can build from that for the weekend. But still feeling like pretty good, and I was stoked that I could improve on all my runs. I just needed more timed runs really.
Yeah.
And that it was good. Yeah, I'm not complaining, but I look good when Aaron's not out there. When Aaron comes back out, then he's definitely the fastest old guy.
Yeah, fair. But I mean, that dude's also the second all-time winningest World Cup rider, so he's got some pretty serious credentials behind him.
Yeah, it's quite hard to compare to him.
Yeah. He's impressive though. Like, his part-time, and he's still coming out and like just putting it into finals relatively easily. Like, man, he's still fucking smashing it.
Yeah, to do that without doing all the races is unreal, because there's guys that are doing all the races and they can't make a final. So, like, not really talking about myself, because that's not. I'm not there for that sole reason of racing. I'm like trying to do 2 other jobs, but like, there's a lot of factory riders that are struggling to make finals. So then Aaron just shows up. He has his little program, and it runs pretty well with Matteo as the mechanic, and the other mechanic, James, I think. They've got like a good setup. They've got what they need, and even the other kid that's on his program is riding really fast now as well. So it's been great to see his progression. That Mikey De La Salle, I think, he was close to getting into finals. So pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think there was a part of me over the last few years where I was kind of like, man, just hang it up. Like, it's not going the way it used to. But now that he's only racing part-time, I feel more like this is awesome. Yeah, like, he shows up and he's getting these results still. So, yeah.
Would you say you feel inspired?
Definitely well played. I am more inspired to race downhill at the moment than I have been in a number of years. I don't know. This season just has been pretty fired up.
The comeback.
You have to email Cashy to get a Federation jersey.
Yeah, I had some messages the other day. There's a few boys heading over to Masters Worlds next year, and they were sending me dates of when they were going in there. But yeah, I don't know about going that far just yet.
Oh, Masters Worlds, shit.
Yeah.
That's when you've acknowledged that you won't do another World Cup.
Well, I think that's happened already. Yeah, I think it's been 10. No, it's been probably about 12 years since I last did a World Cup.
You should sign up for South Korea next year. That'd be a good one. There won't be many riders.
It's going to be about the closest we'll find one, I think, anytime soon.
Yeah, which is a shame.
So that's the rumor of round 1, eh? South Korea.
That's what we're hearing. Yeah, around end of May, I think, in South Korea.
You just hope it's not North Korea.
Yeah,
Probably not the easiest place to get to.
Yeah, but difficult to get through the border.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be an interesting one. At least it's going kind of global again. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, to me, I wonder how, if they do it fully global, how many teams can afford it. Like, they've all got great setups in Europe, and it's easy because you just drive your truck to, like, they just literally pack up in Le Thuile Sunday night, they drive, and they'll be there this afternoon, or even this morning. But they can't take much when they got to go to South Korea or Whistler or wherever. To fly everywhere is pretty difficult and expensive.
Whistler? Yeah, Whistler, is that a rumour, is it?
I saw the rumour, yeah. Whistler as well, yeah.
I haven't seen that, but that'd be an interesting one. That feels
seems,
like it's years coming. Years in the making.
Seems fairly obvious, right? Like, it's a landmark spot.
Imagine a Whistler World Cup with Jackson and Gracie competing for the win, you know?
Yeah. Now's the time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you also think, I don't know, to me it feels like Crankworx has lost its shine a bit. Like, I think Whistler's probably the only one that really still performs out of all the Crankworx events, but like, imagine a World Cup in Whistler. Like, Whistler would burn that night at the after party. It would be insane. Yeah,
it's definitely about time that they do it. And then the Crankworx used to be so big. Like, it used to be a huge thing to go and race the Crankworx downhill. Like, everyone would be like, oh, you're going to Crankworx, and now it's not quite got that same vibe about it. And probably Whistler's like keen to get a World Cup now.
Yeah.
Will be cool if it happens. I'd love to see it, especially with Jackson in the form that he's in.
That would be good.
Yeah.
All right, should we talk Le Thuile? Man, that track looked good. How was it on bike? It looked fun.
Yeah. Pretty much had everything. Had those fast open turns at the top, which were kind of scary because there was quite a lot of loose rocks in there.
It looked like there was lots of little baby heads in there.
Yeah, and they're just moving with every rider. So you're going 60, or some people are going 70 kilometers an hour, and you're leaning on those. It's a pretty scary start, but then then you're pretty much into steep track for the rest of the way after that. And it was like quite sick dirt, kind of similar to, a little bit like the Coronet Peak dirt.
Yeah,
it
looked like that.
Yeah, and then you're just ripping that the rest of the way, and it was quite soft because it's fresh track, but it didn't like completely destroy straight away like Valdesol did. So,
if you watch the Q2 coverage, Carlson referred to it as Duffy no less than about 80 times.
If you watch any of the coverage, he referred to it as Duffy dirt and Duff and Ghoulies.
Never heard of
leveraging those things in there.
No, let's not go down the commentary rabbit hole too soon. Otherwise, we'll be here for hours. We'll try and stick to the.
Before we go on, just quickly want to jump in. Welcome, Red Dog, to the podcast.
He's been here. He just sits quietly.
You ever done introductions? What is this?
I just sit and take minutes. Eh?
Just taking minutes.
I sit and take minutes.
Yeah, Red Dog's here.
Good AGM so far, guys. Keep it up. We'll get to the Treasurer's report soon. Chris, I hope you've got the numbers in order.
Yep, I do. We're making a loss.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
That's for sure.
Anyway, back on track.
But not unsurprising.
Yeah. Well, let's avoid getting stuck into the commentary at this point. Maybe that can be a topic for later on.
Steepest track ever, Kieran.
I was going to ask you if you guys knew that it was the steepest track ever, because no one really told us. Other than Rick about 30 times.
Is it the steepest track ever though? Because Sean
I was just going to ask you, when was it?
No, we were trying to do this calculation, but I was like, whoa, it says, I think somewhere it said 680, but other places were saying 641 elevation drop, which is massive because we normally never go over 500. So I've never heard of 600. But it has 2.3 kilometers distance, and I think Champery has 1.7, and then Champery drops 580. So,
That's close.
Anyone with quick maths, probably Champery is slightly steeper, but
Champery definitely did look steeper.
Yeah,
Do you think if it rained, if it pissed down, would it have been as hard or harder, or not as hard as Champery?
It'd need really a lot of rain for it to get really hard, just because of that dirt's pretty good. Just the first grass turns would be horrible with like all those rocks, and it got slippery for some of the riders already in the race. Like you saw, Lodi Kuhn just go straight out of the track.
Yeah,
he was a little bit too aggressive as well, but it was also not as much grip. And you also saw riders like De Prella, they were pulling roll-offs already 40 seconds into the track, so it was probably quite wet for some of them. And then maybe they timed that technical issue perfectly so that the other riders could have a good dry track.
I was going to ask about that.
Issue?
Was that a weather pause?
Sven was throwing out some rumours that maybe it was someone from Santa Cruz just messing with the signal so the track could dry out for Jackson.
That was my theory. Onwards, Sven.
Some riders definitely benefited from that technical issue. And other riders had a rough time because they went down before the technical issue.
There was a lot of hold-ups.
Yeah, that was probably the longest race ever. I've never seen a race with so many crashes that held up the race.
Yeah, Ronan's one was surprising. I was like, "Geez, this is a lot of red flag time."
Yeah, especially as he was like off the side of the track at the time. Like it wasn't like he walked off the side, you know.
They had the chopper up at one point though, right? They were going to be chopping him out.
Yeah, the chopper took him out. Even though he walked off.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Oh really?
So he dropped the story.
They can't extract from there like by foot, right?
I think not. It's so steep. So the heli was so busy this week. Like during the practice day, I was like, "Whoa, not another one." I don't know how many people got injured, but it was flying around the whole time. You know.
Hey, do they keep them on? Is there like standby helicopters at events now? Is that
one?
Yeah.
That one was standby, but I don't know if they do it at other events. I don't normally see it parked up. But
it was just
fun parked there the whole time.
If you're ever looking for some TV entertainment, there's a whole TV show about the helicopter rescue team that operates out of Zermatt, just across the hill from there.
Yeah.
And they like chopper people off the ski resort for like broken wrists and stuff. Like they don't put people in the meat wagon. Let's get the chopper up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is me sitting here, the guy that got helicopter off. I didn't have anything broken, but it's all right. It happens.
Spirit.
Happens.
Pride.
Yeah.
Pride.
It was a wild one, and then Ryan Pinkerton got held up with the red flag from his teammate Ronan, and then proceeded to do his rerun and absolutely eat shit over the bars as well. So it was a tough day for Mondraker.
Yeah, not ideal for that team. He blew his hand off, and he doesn't know why. I think he probably relaxed on the road gap because that's the only chill point in the track. So literally the only chill point. In my Q1 run, I was like looking at the crowd there because it was the only place. It was literally the worst live crowd ever, probably.
Really?
Yeah, on site there was nearly no one. And then they put such a
at the bottom.
Big finish area that you can't have anyone close to the riders. So it's like, because of that last feature, people go on all different lines to try and stop after the finish. It's such a big finish bowl that literally looks like there is no one there. And the road gap was the only place where the crowd was kind of pulling up on the qualifying day. So I gave him a bit of a look when I was going down the first run.
Nice.
And then, didn't do it on the second run, though. I was a bit more focused, I think. Yeah.
Bit more locked in, as the kids say.
Probably just relax the hands a little bit on the road gap, then goes through those next bumps, and then he just hit a root and hand blew off. Huge crash. And luckily he got up. Yeah, luckily he got up and could ride down, and he'll be alright for this week, because he's been one of the only 3 riders that's gone through every race in Q1. And it's quite something to be in part of that 3-rider group because it's not easy.
A seriously impressive feat.
Yeah, and probably people wouldn't expect Ryan Pinkerton to be in that clump, coming into the season.
He's had some legit results though. He's got some pace on him.
Yeah, surely a podium is coming for him. Maybe in Andorra if his body's not too bad after that crash, because he loves Andorra. So I'd love to see it.
The Americans have got some real talent in there now, like a depth that they haven't had for so long. His name's escaping me. Dylan Maples. Maples has been on fire.
Yes, the most French accent guy for American. It's the biggest French accent because he's
really?
just speaking.
Really?
Well, he's in the French team, so then I got people like dropping comments, and then I'm like, well, this is pretty accurate. And
that must be a hell of an environment for him. Like,
yeah, just French guys. Like, he has to explain to his mechanic
and real English. French guys as well.
Yeah,
like that's about as French as it gets.
Yeah. Like your interview with Till Olren and after finals, and it's like he has no idea what you're talking about. He's just like smiling and nodding and talking about segments, and he was lost.
But honestly, his interview in Le Thuile was a large improvement from his interview in Val di Sole. So I was like, he's already making improvements, which good on him. But whereas before it was Max. Max just used to watch all the vlogs. His brother, Max Allen. He'd watch all the vlogs with French translation, and then he knows English really good, and he's lost like a lot of the French accent already. So he's like one of the boys, and he likes to hang out with the other guys from different countries. Whereas Till probably didn't do the vlogs. He was probably, I don't know. It's funny that the twins and they were not watching it together.
Yeah.
But Max is dialed, so shout out to his English.
It's probably a good place to start talking about the juniors. Till obviously taking the win, pretty good win as well with Ace a second, and then Tyler Waite getting another podium, which is awesome.
Yeah. Very consistent.
He is like just that one small step behind those guys, but then like a step ahead of everyone else. It's he's right there with them.
And doing like a lot different lines as well. Like he did a crazy line in the steeps. He took this inside line that no one else did. He's like, we just did it in practice this morning. Seemed alright, so we'll try it.
That's so good. That's the most Kiwi thing. Just like, seemed alright. Should be good.
Yeah, but he looks super natural on the bike, Tyler. He's like just chilling, doing gaps everywhere, and like style. Like, it looks easy. He makes it look easy. Similar to the Alren brothers as well.
He's like a Blinky. That's what Blinky was always like. Just smooth, stylish, just looks like they're cruising, but absolutely ripping.
No, it's awesome to see. And he was loving the podium apple juice or grape juice that they had. I think all the riders were super dry after that because of the altitude as well.
Yeah.
You got pretty smoked. I think you start at 2,100 at the top. So
that's pretty high.
Tall. Really?
Yeah. And then descending over 600 in a short time. Like, for that steepness of track, it was so fast. Like, surprisingly fast.
Yeah, it was still like about a 40k average or something, or 39. Like, it was pretty fast.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast it was for how steep it was and how like raw some of the sections were. They're still going just flat out. Nothing slows anyone down now. It's crazy how good everyone is and how good all the bikes are. No one's like struggling,
Two more. Well, actually, Ollie was just out of the top 10, but Jonty Williamson in 6th, Malik Boatright in 8th, and then Ollie Clark in 12th. So those four guys have been solid this year. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, real good to see. I think Malik might have even won the time training, so I think he's probably got a big result coming soon as well.
Yeah, and Malik's first year. Well, Malik and Jonty are both first year junior, which is good. Yeah. So still got another year in there.
Yeah, they're really killing it.
Yeah, they've been the most consistent first year juniors out of anyone as well, which is cool. Then we had 4 in the junior women's. It's just become solid. How about Kate Hastings? She's just become the rock of the junior women's from New Zealand. Like, just 4th place.
There's a whole crew
it was
of them.
awesome. Bella in 5th, Indian 6th, and then Ellie with another big crash in 8th.
Yeah.
Is she injured? She looked like she had her knee strapped up.
I think it was taped up. Maybe it tweaked a bit, but she was still walking around looking not too bad. So I don't think it's a major. But I think those junior women are just impressive. It's unreal how much of a future we've got for New Zealand downhill with all of those. When they all move up, we're going to have like a lot of elite riders. It's
been a long time coming. Feels like it's been a real lull for a long time.
Hell of a drought there for a while, eh?
Yeah. Like you'd only have one rider, and now we've got like all of the junior field. Like literally, we probably have the most riders of the junior field for our size of country and for for the country. Yeah. Just versus.
Why do you think that is?
I think we've got all the best places to train. And they've got the example of riders at the top, so they had there was a bunch of riders that could see that it was doable. If you don't have anyone at the top, then it's like, oh, can we even do this? And you don't really believe it. And then we've had some riders at the top over the last few years, and then it's kind of they've had an example, and then they've had all these good races, and they just keep racing each other, and there's such a competitive group that then they all push each other to another level, which kind of was like us when we were growing up, Kieran, with Blinky, Cam, my brother, everyone lifted each other. So it's cool to see, and the future's pretty bright for New Zealand.
Do you think Enduro ate Downhill's lunch for a while there in terms of junior development?
I do.
I reckon
probably.
It did.
Yeah. I think
it's gone back the other way now. I think a lot of people don't really see a future in racing enduro, so they're back to wanting to race downhill.
Back to downhill, yeah.
Well, even some of the kids that come over to do enduro, they're like, "Oh, try and sign up for the next downhill because he's not an enduro." I'm like, it's pretty hard balance to be doing both.
Quite
you know?
the same.
Yeah. But
massive balance.
Wyn just mentioned a lot of names there, KB, and a preview for one of the upcoming podcasts. We may need to get Wyn back, actually. Why is North Island downhillers better than South Island downhillers?
I told you.
I've got you
wanted this as
It's a preview. It's a preview.
How do you have a technicality on this? It's not possible.
I'm going to win this argument. It doesn't matter.
No, we'll park it for another time.
So. We'll have to save this for a mid-season, when the mid-season breaks on, I reckon, because I think it's going to be everyone against Chris, because even I don't agree, and I'm South Island to the core.
Also, Wyn's more of a global citizen anyway, so he doesn't really have a side.
Yeah. Is he moderator?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I'm still Taranaki hardcore, guys, you know?
Yes.
THC for life.
Yeah. I'll be on the weekend. Beautiful one. Stunning.
What a spot.
Hey, bigger surprise for you guys. The fact that Nina won, or the fact that Valley still hasn't won this season?
Valley not winning.
Valley.
Probably the latter.
It's been she's right there, but man, she's just been a tick off compared to what she has been the last few years.
Yeah, is she a tick off, or are the others better now? I think she lifted the game like Aaron did a few years ago.
Yeah.
And she's set this example, so then all know that they have to deliver these crazy race runs to win races. And I think she's lifted the whole sport.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
So, this was the most baffling one, I think. She looked fast. Just didn't... I reckon she even looked a bit baffled, eh? She was like, I don't know.
Yeah. But Nina didn't slow down. So her two bottom splits were the same as her top splits. She kept pushing the whole way. and the others were slightly fatigued. If you watch like closely, do you see those two bottom splits?
Yeah.
They're losing time just a little bit, but a little bit everywhere. And then Nina just kept pushing the whole way.
Cammy went from a podium to 5th on like the last split, like just went backwards. She went from like 2nd, 3rd consistently in the splits to then just drop back to 5th.
Yeah. And
that was the best I reckon I've seen Nina ever ride. She was just hammering. Like that was so fast from her.
Yeah.
When did the track favour like smaller riders? There's a bit of a chat in the build up about like bigger riders were going to have to work way harder to slow the bike down and stuff.
I would say it does, but then there's still like guys or girls like Nina and Loic that kind of upset that one. But then Jackson and Loris were the two standouts in the elite men, so they're both pretty small. And I think just trying to slow down is like nearly impossible if you're heavy. If you come into something a little bit too hot, you can't just pull up where like Jackson probably could. Jackson like looked like it was not even his best run, and he still wins. You know. Like,
you've probably got 30 kgs on him, Wyn. That's a big difference when you're trying to slow down.
Yeah, I was locking my front tyre on some corners. There's one like high line where he did 2 gaps before. There's like this really high line before that, and they were holding like the camber to hold the really
off camber.
Yeah, and into that, and some runs I was coming too hot, and then the front would be locked up. Like you can't slow down.
That's not a good feeling.
No, and then he's like just doing that, like floating down. You know, like it makes you feel bad. But then, to be honest, Loris was super close. So it's good.
That's what's weird about this one is
close he was.
Like Loris looked tidier, and he was just off. Like it was so close, and it like it wasn't like Jackson swept the floor or anything. But it's just it's this 4th one on the trot, so it sort of seems like he dominated.
Yeah. He was making mistakes as well. Like he made a couple of mistakes in the run. He had to pedal out of one of the corners in the steeper parts, which other guys were just like keeping their speed. And then, but he just did like gaps everywhere. He did gaps the whole way down the track. The only thing that he didn't gap was the one that Max Elring gapped, and like
Loic.
He saw on the broadcast. He watched it on the broadcast and then tried.
He hadn't even been doing it.
No, had never done it, and then just pulls up in the finals and tries to do it because he's like, there might be time there. And then
that is so unlike.
Wow.
That is so not Loic. Like you can that. I reckon that kind of shows where he's at with his mindset of like, fuck, I've got to do what I can to beat this kid.
Got to find something.
Your interview with him in the track walk was pretty interesting, Wyn. Revealed a fair bit.
Yeah, he does like to share a lot. He's pretty good for the interviews. But even after the race, he told me his dad was not happy with it. His dad was like, "No, you should have won that. What were you doing?" I'm like, well,
oh man,
put it in the van. We're going home.
Yeah,
he's like, no, don't worry.
You're not racing Andorra.
Like, no, don't worry. I'm used to that. I'm like, well, that's probably why you're so good. If you've always got a critic like that, and you know how to take it. If you didn't know how to take that, imagine like you've just risked your life to get 3rd, and it wasn't
so gnarly.
What are you doing?
Fucking hell. Was it? Was the track scary to race?
Yeah, to race for sure. There were parts where you're just frothing and loving it. If you're riding those corners good and those like steep dropping like kind of bermed corners, it was super fun. It's kind of like sections of Champery back in the day because it was soft. They're like good berms, and if you stay inside the really soft stuff, then you're getting like extra speed out of every one. But then there were other parts where you're just like struggling to slow down, and you're like, "Whoa, I'm going pretty fast here." So it's scary. There were like a mix of like super fun and super scary, and then like if you could ride like Jackson and clear all those gaps, you're probably just loving it the whole way. Like you'd be laughing. Like the one he did before that high line that I mentioned was like something else. He had to like hop from this deep rut that had holes in it, hop the holes, land into the compression so you don't get bounced down the compression, and then pull up and triple onto the road. And no one was even close to trying that. Like, he
was so
did
gnarly.
that so dialed. He can, like, put his bike wherever he wants and do it, like, with ease. And he's got 2.3 kilos added to it, so it's mental.
I've watched his run like multiple times, and he's real dynamic on the bike with his lower body. Like, he is swinging hips everywhere, knees are always just making these subtle adjustments, and I reckon that's a big part of why he can do that stuff, because he's got this like balance point on the bike dialed where he can just move his weight wherever he needs to, and he just gets traction like everywhere.
Yeah,
I noticed this thing, you didn't see it so much this time, but some of the earlier races, he's got a pretty unique style, right? Like, he's standing up behind the bars, and it's almost like he like lets his hips and his weight and everything fall inside, rather than kind of counterbalancing or counterweighting. And it's like he just lets the bike just find traction eventually. It looks like he's falling a lot of the time, but he's super dialed.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how you can emulate it, but I wish I did.
Give it a crack with it.
My bars would have to be 2 meters high to look similar.
Borrow some off deck.
Yeah. Well,
I was actually looking at
the comparison thing where they compared the heights of the riders versus the handlebar, and actually Dax were a lot lower than Jackson's versus his height.
Yeah.
So, mad, yeah. He's got a very high setup versus his height.
Well, Drake have quite a low stack, I think.
They do. They are quite low in the front end.
Stack Norton.
Stack.
Man, Lockie was on one. That was good to see him right there sniffing at the podium again.
Yes, it's good to see him back.
He looks dialed as well.
He is either like, I don't know, this season it's either been like on or it's been off. Like, he's either like, he's right there for a podium, or he hasn't made qualifying. Like, it's been so up and down, but man, that showed his skill in the weekend. That was a sick run.
Yeah, surely a podium's coming soon on the right track. He didn't have a great weekend at Latour. He was not happy with it. Like, and when we did an interview after Q2, he was like pretty down on the whole weekend. And he was just glad to be in the final. And I was like, well, you've got one run tomorrow. That's like, you can turn the whole weekend around in one run. That's all that counts, you know? And then he did that. So pretty impressive that he could turn it all around. And he's kind of got the weight of the team on his shoulders. Like, he's their rider now, so he has to deliver. I don't think he's ever been in that position, and then that's quite a new thing as well.
I mean, he's on an A team, and he's the lead rider, so that's a lot of weight on your shoulders.
It's a good round to have a good result at, though, as well, right? Like, that was a track that was, you kind of make a mark if you get a good result there.
Yeah, everyone. I didn't see really anyone that didn't like the track, so that was pretty impressive. They did a really good job to build a track for the first year and be that good.
It was
pretty
way
wild
better to
think.
watch than Lego Gang. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
It actually, the whole track looked like you were watching, like it was impressive the whole way.
Yeah.
A mate of mine texted me on Saturday, I think it was, after the first day of practice, and he was like, what a boring track. And I was like, what? Hang on. I was like, is this sarcasm? And I'm like, you reckon? And he's like, just looks like a motorway. And I was like, fuck. What? I'm like, what have you been watching? Turns out he'd only watched a couple of helmet cam videos of it. And I'm like, well, you can't take anything away from a helmet cam. While it still looks sick, it doesn't show you how steep it is and like how loose and... But he'd watch like Jackson.
He's not in the group chat.
He's mate of mine, Andy. He's a local guy. He won't be listening, so it's all right. But yeah, so we'd have a bit of a heart-to-heart over text to explain to him that in fact it looks like one of the best tracks has been in quite some time.
Here's the facts, Andy.
I reckon it did the sport justice because like when you watch the broadcast and like they watch the women's race and then the dudes come on and it just looks like the first few riders look like they're in fast forward because there's like quite a significant pace difference. This week it's like the women are like spraying dirt and like cutting insides and it just looks real dynamic and cool, and I reckon it did the sport justice, eh?
Yeah, they taped it really wide everywhere. So even if there was berms, there was still like places you could do a range of different things, and even if you compared like all of the top 5 fastest runs, they're probably not even riding close to the same line, which is actually sick. Like, we never see that. Normally we're just riding this like polished, hard pack one line that there's only one fast race line and you can't do anything else. There you could cut inside on the turns, you could be Reece Wilson on flats, like you could do whatever. You know? Like, shut up to him for it because he was going well too.
Yeah,
he was going well.
Maybe that's what he needed.
He was going inside everywhere. So apparently he had a chat to Sam Hill after his qualifying, and Sam was very happy with the flats being represented. So yeah.
Would Sam in his prime won this? He would have won this, surely.
Ah, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, you'd have to say, but then you're going back. You have to put everyone on an old bike. So
yeah.
I don't know.
This would be one of those tracks.
Would not like being on an old bike with no data or knowledge of anything.
This is definitely one of those tracks to watch it on an old downhill bike compared to a new one. Would be so interesting.
Well, they'd get bucked a lot on the old bike because there's some gnarly holes. But it look a lot more exciting with the old bikes because you're not as stable. So you just
be out of control.
the old-fashioned bikes. The old-fashioned bikes, as that kid said to me a couple of weeks ago.
The old penny farthers.
Those old-fashioned bikes. When I was doing some coaching and one of these young guys, like 16 or so, and we were talking about Kurt Lancaster, which, shout out to Kurt Lancaster, he's laid up after he's done a real mischief to his leg.
Shit.
But he, this young guy goes, "Oh, is that the guy that rides those old-fashioned bikes?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "There's old-fashioned downhill bikes." And I'm like, "What, like a 26-inch one?" He's like, yeah. I was like, "Oh, man, old-fashioned that's tough to hear."
That is bad, yeah. We're on vintage now. We're vintage riders.
We're old as hell.
All these kids, they don't have an idea who the previous legends of the sport were. Like, all these kids now. They're like, I think it was Ali was like, I didn't even know who Steve Pete was. Like,
oh, come on.
Careful.
Yeah, it's that guy with that mustache over there.
Yeah, and then she had to go and watch like a whole bunch. I was like, you have to watch some of these videos because like you don't realise who is your team manager, you know?
Won't back down's all you need to watch. It'll bring a tear to your eye and you'll know everything about him after that.
Yeah. And then Aletha didn't know Fab at all either, so it's like, I'm like, you're in the team with
so young.
Legends. Yeah,
guys,
they don't even know.
Do your history, guys.
Hey, speaking of Fab, my favourite part of the whole race was watching his reactions in the finish line.
He's animated,
It's so good.
Yeah.
I was enjoying it.
Was that Ronan's girlfriend on the camera?
Yeah.
God, that must have been a horrible moment for her. And they really hung the camera on her as well.
Yeah, they left it on her after
weird.
there was nothing more to see that Ronan was okay or not, which I understand. Live broadcasts, they have to do that because it's like if there's a bad accident, they don't want to show the aftermath of the bad accident.
Yeah.
So they cut away straight away, but then don't just leave it on his girlfriend. Like,
don't choose the girlfriend who's sitting there going, fuck, I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Which is the same as all of us, who like what actually happened.
You could see it in her eyes as soon as they cut away from like him on the ground, and then she's just like, "Yeah, what's going on here now?"
Yeah,
poor girl.
But Ronan was on a knife edge the whole run. I'll be honest, like he was on a knife
nothing
edge
but exciting. Yeah. But that's just how he is all the time. I reckon. Like that's just what Ronan is. He is on the edge of just exploding.
Yeah,
makes him exciting to watch.
surely he can't keep this approach forever. I don't think. Like, it's not sustainable.
No, you got to find a balance somewhere.
That's a pretty rough year as well. It started the season with a hell of a knock, and then this.
Yeah, and we don't know what the injuries are now. He says he's okay, but when Ronan says he's okay, what's okay? You know, like
Yeah.
It could be anything. It could be anything.
I've got another bigger surprise question for you guys. Jackson wins 4 in a row, or Amory shows up like 8 days after surgery and gets 10th.
Emery.
I'm going Amory.
Emery,
Fuck it hell. What
Has anyone ever done that before? I think Petey. Apparently, Petey did something once, but I don't remember.
Maybe I think he did. Was it? The one maybe you're at, KB. We've been to a lot.
Lavinia.
Yeah.
You've ridden with various broken bits.
Maybe.
Yeah, I've ridden, but not straight after surgery.
I don't remember anyone ever showing up like a week or two after surgery to do it.
Gnarly.
Well,
I remember Fabian showing up with like a separated shoulder and winning worlds, but that was like 6 weeks later or something. You know, it wasn't 8 days.
Yeah.
So after his race run, he had to go back to the truck to change the dressing on his cup. Literally, like,
Jesus.
How do you survive a whole weekend on that track like that? Like, you come in and going, I can't crash. That's the worst mindset to ride a track like that. Like, and he was definitely riding like that. On the first day, he was going like really slow and like maybe one corner fast, slow again, stopping. Like, he built up really slowly, and then he actually delivered a top 10. It's mental.
That's incredible.
It's nuts. And like you were saying, that's tough enough to do, just not even coming in and like putting pace down from the start. The fact that he built in slow and still pulled a top 10 is just wild.
That must be pretty powerful for his mindset as well, though, right? Like, because I think there was an interview I saw where he was talking about wanting to come back and race, just mainly so he didn't feel like he was sort of slipping back, just to kind of keep going. Like, if he can do that, like he must know he can do anything now, right?
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting how it goes in Andorra now. He could probably be back on his normal pace in Andorra because he's now tested his collarbone well enough to he believes in it. But you can't take a crash, that's the problem. So he got through the whole weekend, I think, with no crashes, which is also lucky because a lot of people crash this weekend.
That's probably a good thing for him, isn't it? Because he's pretty wild when he's pinned.
Yeah. But if you did crash on it, you're probably going to do some damage to your collarbone. Like,
that plate.
Settled. Yeah.
You're either going to bend that plate or you're going to tear some screws out.
Yuck.
You've bent a plate, haven't you?
I bent the plate in my arm, so it's...
That's right.
That's horrible.
That was the one you did in Nelson, on Kaka.
Because they fixed it and then said it was good enough, but it wasn't quite good enough. And I was racing already at like a few races. It was just real painful. They're like, yeah, that's normal. It'll be painful. I'm like, all right, you guys tell me. Then yeah, sweet, I'll listen. Then like, just racing in Fort William hit a big hole and it just went kunk.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, you didn't even crash.
The bend was disgusting. It had like a bend in it.
Nah, just like, and it just went. And then I was in disbelief the whole time. I was like, I can't believe this has happened. So I just kept racing next week.
It's horrible.
I snapped my wrist coming up short on a jump and didn't crash when I was about 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Like, I just tried this gap and landed real heavy on the front wheel, and I thought I snapped my handlebars. As I rolled out, I looked down and I was still holding onto the bars, and my wrist was just like a J, just bent in the middle.
Yeah,
that was a gross
It's like when you split your testicles open, wasn't it, Kobe?
That was a little different. I blew both my feet off the pedals that time and tore them open on the. Remember before Maxxis, you had to have those things called cables that actuated your derailleur.
Whoa! Before Maxxis,
I'm familiar.
So the bike I was on the bike I was on had those. It was classic old like mountain bike, and it had those on the top tube. So it had the classic cable guides on the top tube, and I went sliding up the top tube, and I tore the sack open on one of those as I slid over it. So
It's a good clean slice though. That's good.
yeah, still got a scar there.
Okay.
Probably won't show you.
Good
But
to
I mean,
know.
couple of beers maybe.
Yeah, one of my mates did the similar thing on the way to school once. He was biking to school and his chain came off, went straight into the stem.
Oh,
And
that was such a classic, eh? The
Yeah.
chain would slip off and you just
Yeah.
peel the stem.
on your BMX, yeah, and then he went into the stem and the whole sack rolled out. Like
Oh,
I lost it.
mine didn't go that far.
it came out 'cause it's on the big cord, you know. And
So
some
when you
old
felt-
lady was like,
Okay.
some old people were helping and they had to hold it. Like,
Oh my god.
Oh,
quite a scene on the way to school.
Was that
it
Taranaki or
is.
was that Wanganui one?
New Plymouth on the way to Highlands Intermediate.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taranaki hardcore
Definitely
right
had the day
there.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The day off. The afternoon off.
Yeah,
Back
get
into
the
it
day off.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I'll quickly jump into our Pink Bike Downhill Fantasy League, and Camp Cole, part boss at Virus brand here in New Zealand, has actually offered our listeners up a discount code for the Virus website here. And if you use OTB Podcast 15, I believe it'll be a 15% discount. Haven't had that confirmed, but I assume that'll be what the 15 is, and get yourself a nice wee discount.
Just writing that down. So it's OTB Podcast 15, was it?
That's
I'm
it.
just going to try it now. OTB
Yep.
Podcast 15.
Maybe that'll get us
Can you give us what the
15%.
website is while you're on there, Red Dog?
Virusbrand.co.nz, I believe.
Perfect.
Weird, obviously. Yeah.
So they sponsor our Pink Bike Fantasy League, and this week we actually had a tie for first place with friend of the show, Weasel MTB. Shout out to Weasel.
What a guy.
I'm
and
not familiar with Weasel.
someone by the username of Moon's a Balloon. I don't know who that is, but Cam's actually decided that we're going to do a 3-race like dash for cash. Well, not cash, but dash for prizes. So we're going this round and the next 2 rounds for a bit of a big prize draw. So we'll do a couple of giveaways over the rest of the season.
I can get back in. We can go for like rounds rather than the overall.
Yep. You could go in for
Alright.
some rounds rather than the overall.
Yeah, good. That sounds
So yeah,
good to me.
jump on the Virus website and use OTB Podcast 15 for a discount.
It works. The code works, by the way.
Pretty cool,
fantastic.
Richard.
Oh, I just checked that it worked.
Okay.
I've got another question for you guys in regards to watching this race. Is the full 29er downhill bike officially dead? Is it over?
There's
What are
two
you
riders
riding?
I
on
thought
one.
that was dead quite a while ago.
There's 2 riders on one.
It's both YT, right? Andy
YT,
and
yeah.
O'Sheen.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware
So-
that it was dead. I didn't know that everything was a mullet
It's going that
until
way.
recently, like a few races ago.
You're
I must have
definitely
asked-
more invested in like aero bars and frame bags and shit these days, though, Red Dog.
Yeah,
So
that's fair enough. Yeah, I am. Yeah.
I'm
It does
surprised
make sense
that
when we're going downhill.
it's true.
yeah, I'm surprised that we're not seeing like the big guys like Benny Wawa operating a full 29er. But then you'd have to have a frame that can take one, right? And that must be half of it. Is you'd have to have a bike that can have both.
Yeah, and still keep the geometry good on both, which probably some don't. That maybe is one of the reasons why the YT is still 29, because it got developed as a 29 when Aaron rode it.
What does your Focus Gary do? Wyn? Are you able to run either of them, or
You
2.4.
can run a 29 on the Focus Gary.
no? Yeah.
But
You're
I've-
stuck to
yeah.
the mullet.
I just stuck to that because that's what I always ran, so I don't have enough time to go testing wheel sizes. Nor
Fair enough.
do I see any benefit. If Loic's got a 27.5 on the back, then I think that's the that's got to be
That's a
the
good point.
fastest. Yeah.
So So the problem I've had is I like to ride an extra large frame from Santa Cruz, and the extra large V10 is 29 only, and all the other sizes are mullet. So
Really?
yeah, so I've actually just ordered a size large mullet because I want to give it another try. So that's where I'm heading. Going to try the mullet again.
Reach sheet set on that one.
Well, it's got a reach set already, so you can adjust it between 3 positions. It's probably, with a 55mm stem, will be about 5mm shorter than I'd prefer, but I'll get used to it. So it should
Does
be
that
right.
mean we're going downhill riding soon, KB?
I'm going downhill riding tomorrow.
Whoa! Where was the
Where was
memo?
the text?
I'm coaching. You could sign up for it if you want.
I might have to put an order in for a Focus Gary. I'd like a Focus Gary.
Yeah. Gary.
I'll tell you what, I'd like a Focus Gary, but because it's the respray job, I'd like it to be done as a Haro. That'd be great. Thanks.
And that blue,
can be whatever you
that blue
like.
colour.
100%.
The EDR was on as well. That doesn't get much attention when downhill racing's on. But Charlie Murray put another strong result. 0.05 from the overall. Man, that was tight.
Almost.
Did you hear Josh announce in the broadcast? Charlie he won it. He said he won it by 0.05.
Yeah,
I was like,
I saw that.
Man.
They had 2 mistakes within the first 5 riders of the commentary. I watched 5, and I was like, this is clearly wrong. Like, Charlie did not win. And then Rick covers it up at the end by saying, and actually, Slow and Mel Lukasek won the race last night in the EDR.
I tell you what.
They had one other one too, where I was like, this is clearly wrong.
Rick did have one call that was completely on the money, if somewhat out of the blue, where I think it might have been Dylan Maples on track. And he just commented on the fact that he didn't like that the Maples had different coloured brake levers. So he had one chrome lever. That was a contribution for that run. I was like, thanks, Rick. It's great.
Yeah. He must.
I agree with
have
him.
broken the brake lever or something. Yeah.
It's like, how do you race it downhill like that?
Yeah. Actually, shout out to the EDR was so good with the night stage.
Yeah, that night stage actually looked quite cool.
I was
best thing they've
super
ever done
impressed.
for Enduro. 100%.
Really?
It was
because of the
way
spectators?
bigger crowd for Enduro than downhill.
And they did a good job of putting together like a decent course for it as well. I thought, like, I was watching some of the clips of it, and it looked to begin with like it was just going to be down a ski hill or something, but it looked gnarly. Yeah, that rock garden looked terrifying.
It was proper track, and Thuile hosts ski World Cups, so they have a lot of knowledge how to run an event properly. So when they released this idea for the night stage, I was like, this is going to be a disaster. You're thinking like a couple of lamps in the field and no crowd, nothing. Enduro's, it was like the final nail in the coffin for Enduro. But actually, because it was at Thuile, they've really killed it. Like, they brought in all these lights. They've got proper lights, so it was super bright. There's nowhere where it was dark. You're not allowed to run a light yourself, so it was. Oh,
you weren't.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a proper. It was so bright. Yeah.
We've had lots of
Chris, you had this discussion. You've brought this up for that you wanted to see a night stage, but is this what you had in mind, or were you thinking dudes with like big hella spotlights on their helmets and that sort of thing?
Well,
that's what I was thinking.
I must admit, they executed it better than I had in mind. But I still would like to see a night stage where guys have got like night lights. But the rule is you can have any night light setup you want, so no restrictions on night light setups. But all I want to see is that people are doing the transition stages. They've got the little covers on the night lights, so like little hella night lights. That's all. I don't want that.
So those little plastic covers.
Yeah. You know, like in rally, how they have the light pods on the front of the cars? Just like that. Everyone loves a night stage.
Those lights actually looked real good, like the kind of 360-degree lights they used. Didn't look like there was any shadow issues or anything.
It was so bright. Like, if you stayed up there too long, you probably would have been awake all night because it was just like that, super bright, you know. And then there's heaps of people partying next to the stage, like next right next to the track, like they boop, boop, boop. And then like drunk people, we went e-biking after the Q2, so me, Angus, and our mechanic, we went e-biking till like 9:15. We rolled straight to the night stage. We pull up there, there's two drunk guys like, hey, we're drinking this. I'm like, no way am I drinking that. you guys are cool. And then there's just people partying, like, loving it. And that's what they need at the World Cups, because we don't have any atmosphere otherwise when we don't have, like, something happening in the night, you know? And there needs to be more of a reason for people to show up, like, and watch.
I've said this before, and I've been lambasted for it. Yeah. Like, downhill racing is going the way of ski racing. Because ski racing, they know how to run a big public event like that. Or enduro as well. But there's no snow anymore, so they need something to do in the summertime. And all these ski resorts are perfect for it.
Yeah. But they need to host like more of a festival vibe for the events. So I think Baldasol had the four cross, and here we had the night stage enduro. If we can keep these night events going, it's sick for the event. But none of the people hang around for the downhill the next day because there's no accommodation in Lituel. Like, it'll literally, the whole town would be sold out. It's tiny.
It's real small. Yeah.
And then it's a bit of a mission to get to, so
did you race the valley. Did you race the Zermatt Enduro when it was on a couple years ago? When?
Yeah.
Do you reckon Zermatt would be a good spot for a full downhill and enduro?
Yeah, it could easily do the same. They'll have more accommodation in Zermatt probably, but it's just annoying because you're not normally allowed to drive a car in Zermatt, so you have to use those electric taxis to get to your accommodation.
Shout out to Warner Brothers for fucking up the junior coverage for the second weekend in a row as well. That was real awesome. It's hanging out waiting to see that. And then like 10 minutes before junior finals start, they put out a post saying there's a new home for junior racing and that you'll find it on all their paid services. It was not on the Mountain Bike World Series one that we have in New Zealand. So missed all of that. They also turned their comments off when they put that post out. So they had no comments open on that one. So they knew that the hell was going to be unleashed. Fucking just continually.
I'm really not sure who does PR for them because they're doing a really bad job. Like, it can't be that difficult.
So bad.
Just to give some people some knowledge, you know, like tell them what's going to happen.
I think they're too big to care, man. It's such a fucking big organisation, and they haven't. And the sport's too small for them to prioritise it. You know, like you wouldn't get that with rugby or whatever else. You know, because it's also part of Eurosport or something, isn't it? But it's you got to imagine they just go details.
Yeah, we've got their money now, and who cares if we don't put the junior racing free on YouTube? Doesn't bother us.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Stupid.
Yeah, it was real disappointing.
What's the deal with the coverage on Q1 as well?
They don't cover that.
So why do they have full coverage of Q2?
They don't do full coverage. It's like every third rider, but it's because it's the exciting one of who's going to make the final. I think it's more exciting than Q1. Like Q1 is all your top riders that normally should go through, and then Q2 is like a dogfight for the remaining 10.
Yeah, it's real scrappy.
But then they just missed guys. They just didn't show Henry Keefer's run at all.
Yeah,
and
because they only show 30 seconds. They've got 30-second intervals, so they've got the option to show 30 seconds of every rider, or a whole run of every third rider, or fourth rider.
Yeah.
Like,
remember, like the first year that they changed from Red Bull, and you had the option to just turn the commentary off, and you could just have the ambient noise, like all the crowd noise. Man, I wish they'd bring that back. At the moment, I watched it with the commentary on, and then I watched quite a few runs again later that day. But I just turned it off. Like, I watched Jackson's run about 5 times because it was just, there was lots of interesting stuff to watch. And I was just like, I'm putting it on mute now. I just couldn't Couldn't listen to it anymore.
There was a great bit of public service information that came out halfway through the finals. Something to the effect of, so the pink things that you see in the track there, they're actually rocks that have been spray painted.
So fucking heard that.
Like, no way.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yes. Good to know.
Yeah.
That was Carlson laying down that gem of there's just so the riders can see the rocks.
So good.
Unreal.
Like even if you'd never watched downhill before, you'd turn it on and be like, they've clearly spray painted some rocks pink. Anyone could tell that.
Yeah, normally I'm like,
go ahead.
Please let Nico talk a bit more.
Yeah, Nico was good this week actually. There was one point where Rick tried to talk over him in classic fashion about something nonsense, and Nico just kept talking, and I was like, yes, like he was standing up, and he just kept going, and then Rick backed down and stopped talking in the end. I was like, good on you. This is what you need to do. Like, get your point out and fucking stick to it.
I quite enjoyed Nico's commentary during Gwyn's run, because he pretty much was just talking about when Gwyn was at his peak. Just talking about the old days.
Nico is good, but they need to be, and they're better at it now, be conscious they need to like throw to him. Because he can't really start talking on his own, I don't reckon. It's too hard to get in between the other guys, so they need to like consciously throw to them. I think it was better this week actually. They were really quite good at that.
I think it sounded as though he had a section of the track that he would always do a segment in.
Yeah.
There's a bit where whatever it was, the corner, they came out of a left and they drop off some rocks, kind of on a ledge somewhere, and I can't remember what it was, someone went out the front door there. But he sort of had this section that he would always talk there, and he'd always wrap it up at the same spot, and it was sounded quite pre-prepared.
Yeah.
I put up a World Cup bingo story on the OTB Instagram stories. I think it was after I was watching the Q2 coverage, just things like Rick talks over Josh talks over Rick, both talk over Nico. Rick calls someone a player manager, which definitely came out. Yeah, player manager definitely happened. The amount of replies I got, and just like people involved in the sport too, replying and being like, this is ridiculous, this has got to change. Like, I was like, wow, there's actually some people here that I was like, holy shit, I didn't expect to see replies from. I was quite impressed.
Oh, that's rough. It's a tall order though. Like,
I reckon
they're doing a good job with, like, they've never done it before as a team.
I wouldn't want to be a commentator.
No, bugger that.
It's got to be hard work, but still.
I reckon you could go back and do the exact same thing with Rob.
I don't think
I don't think
you could say like anyone who's done it super dialed.
Yeah. But Rob brings a lot of energy to those things, and then that's exciting for us to watch, and you're like getting into it.
He did, yeah. It's kind of his brand.
Rob,
he's very good at it.
He had proper knowledge too. Like, he knew what he was talking about.
There's a good interview with him.
Do a commentary thing soon.
Like a course
with Rob.
With Rob, I've got to do some Red Bull Urban Race, so we had to do a test.
Oh, awesome!
Commentary test.
Is this an announcement?
That's sick.
Not quite, but it's not quite the press release, but it might be the OTB press release.
We're getting the scoop.
Sounds like a scoop.
Or the Red Bull.
What? Yeah.
Geno Vasero Bajo.
Congratulations. That's huge. I heard it here, guys.
Yeah.
But we had to do it.
I was going to say, when listening to the track walk, you sounded like you've been working on your commentary style a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, it sounded real dialed. Real clip.
I'm not sure. Probably I was less tired than normal.
That's all then. More focused.
But it's my new bike sponsor. They've really given me a newfound focus.
Real lease on life.
Yeah. But I did a commentary test with Rob, and he had to fly to Salzburg to do it, just to see if I could do this. So we had to commentate on two races. One one being Genova last year, which I was racing, and Rob posted a video on his Instagram of
Saw
me
that one.
commentating. Yeah, mainly it was Rob joking about me, but yeah, it was quite funny. And then we had to do another event. Yeah, which is kind of weird, and also on a past event is quite hard. So yeah, I didn't quite commentate too much on my run. It was more Rob just making jokes about me. But I was the second rider, so they were more interested in like the last 10. But we had to do 16 riders of that race, and then we had to do another race, which was Valparaiso in 2023 maybe, and there was a 20-minute injury delay. So we had to do that one as well. Yeah, and then do the final riders for that one. Yeah,
that was chosen on purpose to see how you'd like go through that break.
Yeah, to see how me and Rob worked together, and
yeah.
And then Rob was actually really easy to work with. He like leads the whole thing so well. Like if you're struggling with something, then he'll fill the airtime. You know, like it's no problem.
That's a lot like KB on the podcast. Like we can fill an hour and a half of dead time.
Yeah,
we'll find stuff to talk about. I think that's honestly for me one of the things that I struggle with now with Rick and Josh Carlson is they just, both of them, it feels like they're both trying to be number one and they're both fighting each other for talking, whereas Rob was like, he was the play-by-play guy, and as much as I hated Claudio was kind of just like the hype man that he would throw, kind of analysis to, and it worked a lot better.
Three's too many, is my opinion.
Well,
that doesn't need to be three of them.
Especially when they throw another person in.
Always.
Throw Ken Roxon in the mix, and then it's clusterfuck.
No, they threw Nico out when they brought Ken Roxon in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I find there's a lack of knowledge of downhill, like in-depth knowledge to truly explain what's going on, rather than just talk about pink rocks.
Yeah.
I'm a core fan though. I don't want to hear about pink rocks or 200 miles of travel. And honestly, I don't think many non-core fans are just rushing to sign up for downhill. I'll pay.
That's what sounds real confusing about it, right? Like, the sport's not at a point where they need... Like, no sport, people who aren't actually fans watch the whole thing. Like, people watch Drive to Survive, but don't watch the actual race. So then the commentators know how to talk about racing.
Maybe in the US...
watch rugby, they don't explain the rules every time. They don't tell you what that white line on the ground is.
I wish they would, because I don't know any of them.
And then they tell you the goalpost, they've actually got a kick between it.
They don't tell. You've got to assume the viewer is educated somewhere.
A little bit, yeah. But Supercross does a relatively good job of sometimes explaining things, sometimes a little bit too much, but they do explain things to an uneducated viewer and the core fan without going too mad.
There was the days of the red Hondas and the green Kawasaki's and the orange KTM's. But
it is a bit surprising that they haven't consistently been able to pull in ex-racers who are like Rob, who is now a professional commentator, but he probably had a bigger career being a commentator than a downhill racer. But that's how it works in pretty much every other sport. Is the top commentators are ex-athletes or whatever else.
Yeah. And we've got one guy that used to do enduro and another guy that used to commentate enduro. We don't have either as racers, And if you weren't there for the years of downhill, you don't have the knowledge of the riders or the bikes or the tracks or anything like. If you pull out knowledge that's not correct, it looks pretty bad, I think. Of course you're going to make mistakes because live commentary is really hard. It's never going to be easy. But you need to be on point.
It's also a missed opportunity because they're going to so many tracks now that actually do have a bit of a legacy. Like we were talking about this the other weekend and kind of taking the piss out of it, but they were at Val d'Isle and they didn't talk at all about how much amazing shit's happened at Val d'Isle over the years. But they could be. There's so much to fill the air with. Yeah,
especially if you've got Luke Meyer-Smith coming down, you can mention Sam Hill, his fellow Australian rider, actually dominated on this course. Yeah. You've got something to speak about rather than pink rocks and 200 miles of travel.
Talk about the time Manar crashed and swapped out and snapped his frame in half right before finals.
Yeah.
Like, there was some wild shit that's gone on at Val di Sole that just doesn't even thought about. Like,
and all of that builds the event to be like the classic. Like, if you win Val di Sole, you're a legend sort of thing, you know?
Even this weekend, like, for anyone who's been watching the sport for a long time, the first thing that comes to mind is, oh, this track's like Champery. Oh, Champery was amazing. Like, there's so much to talk about that they just skim over it. Well, they don't touch it at all.
But I do imagine they do get directed to talk about certain things, but I'm not sure.
Like how steep the track is.
Yeah. Not sure the directors have enough knowledge of the sport. And they all think that they're getting this new audience, which I do not believe is happening. They're all like, yeah, we got the new audience. The core audience is not important.
No.
That's the thing. The core audience is always important because in every sport, the top of the sport, the fans are what make it like amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't matter what sport it is, F1, ski racing, fucking rugby. Like rugby heads are what make rugby.
Heads.
The only people that are watching a 3-hour live downhill broadcast are enthusiasts.
Mm-hmm.
There is not, I would put money on, there is probably not a single person watching it that doesn't ride a bike who's just like, yeah, I love watching this sport. Like, you've got to live it. Like, it's pretty much part of your personality when you're a mountain bike enthusiast. Like, it's a bit of an obsession, you know? Like, it's not just like the sort of thing where, you know, like, you watch F1 because you're interested in, you know, you think like, oh, this is pretty cool car racing and there's some interesting storylines. Like, I don't know, mountain biking just doesn't have that.
No.
It can get there, but it needs to be like, it's not about making, like, dumbing down the sport and making it more accessible. It's about making it better, just more interesting and more exciting. And I think, you know, I want to see the KB commentary test.
Well, maybe we should pull out that live commentary that we keep talking about doing, our alternative commentary for one of the North American rounds. We should get on that.
For, what is it, Lake Placid?
Yeah, I think so. We'll get it done.
I'd rather see KB do an urban downhill in like a third world country.
I can arrange the invite.
All right.
Red Dog, I can get that invite sorted.
That would be awesome. Wow,
100%.
I would love that.
Will it be all expenses paid?
The hotel's covered. You got hotel, dinner. You just have to get yourself there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This might still be a hard one to put across the line with my wife, I think.
I'll start a GoFundMe right now.
I think we should give you a pass for that one.
Actually, Chris, remember the GoFundMe I talked about last week? This is actually a great segue. So the rumours have been that Red Dog has his trail bike up for sale. Wyn, can you believe this? He's done with any type of, like, he's just a bike packer now.
Yeah.
And I said to Chris the other day, I was like, I might start a crowdfunding campaign through the podcast where we're actually going to put together the GoFundMe and we'll buy Red Dog's bike, but we're going to buy it and then we're actually going to leave it in his garage so he still has to have it at his house.
Oh, I thought we were going to raffle it off.
No.
And if I raffle it off, that'd be good.
If he ever wants to use it, he's got to rent it off us. Yeah, it's going to be locked to the wall and only we've got the code. And also, as a personal protest to Red Dog selling his trail bike, is I'm going to sell my gravel bike.
Good.
Yeah.
Good move.
Yeah. I don't want anyone done.
Don't worry, it's still here.
Last one to just bring up in the commentary while I'm there. There was a lot of talk about how no one's won more than 4 races, but Rachel Atherton did win 14 in a row. So
14 in a row.
Was it that many?
Shout out, yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It started in like 2016, and then I think she won all of 2017 or something, or whatever it was. Because she had a perfect season in 2016, maybe, and she went from like the back end of one season, winning like 4 races, and then won something like 7, and then won like another 3 or whatever it was.
Are any of the Athertons going to, like, are they attending the races as like team owners and stuff?
No, they haven't been at the last few. So, G came to Leogang. He was there.
It's kind of interesting. I thought they would still be like there.
Yeah, I think they're pretty busy with the bike park. Like, G and Dan, they're like swinging off chainsaws every day. Like, Dan especially. Dan still lives in a caravan on the bike park. Like,
No way.
yeah, he lives in a caravan at the bike park. He's like full trail builder guy, and that bike park is Dan Atherton. Like, without him, that's not a thing, you know?
That's unreal.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then, like, they'll have, like, a storm, and you'll just see G's stories, like, swinging off a chainsaw. He's cut his hand. Is like, I'm like, these guys are next level. Like, and G is still training like he's going to race, you know? Like, he trains properly in the gym every day. Like, he's training, like, under proper coaching, everything still. That's just him.
That dude's such a beast. Man,
This would have been a
he's
treat
just
to
like-
see G on. Fuck, that would have been good.
Yeah. But...
Oh,
and
man.
then Rachel's just busy with mum life, I think, as well. And then she still rides at the bike park quite a bit, so she'd still be super fast. She could probably still just show up if she wanted to, but she doesn't want to anymore. And the risk is too high. Like,
Yeah.
what does she
Don't
benefit
blame
from
her, eh?
now? Like,
Nah.
what is she going to gain from that? You know, like,
Nah.
No
in the
way.
best case, she gets on the podium and then mic drops, but she should have mic dropped when she won the other race.
I know.
Years back. Like, just drop the mic.
That would have been the best, but I mean, even that was so sick that she came back, even if she did do a couple more races or whatever after it. But the fact she could put a win down, like, that is incredible. She's all time, like, one of the best, without a doubt. We'll never,
class.
you know, like,
That's the thing, right? So, like, none of the commentary, no one's talking about, like, people who have retired in the last couple of years, but had such a massive impact on the sport. Like, that's the depth that's not there.
Yeah. And even at Sea Otter this year, Rachel was on, like, a trail bike, like, quite a big one. They've got a 170 travel, I think. I think it's alloy too, so it's, like, not a light bike for the downhill there. And she had the big downhill tyres on, like, super soft compound. Everyone's got, like, cross-country tyres, light bike, like, perfect setup for Sea Otter. She's still second in the women. Like, I'm like,
Amazing.
wow. She is mental, like, she's still good, you know? But class is always class, and it never really is lost, you know? Like, even with Greg, you see how well Greg's doing the job in the team now. Like, I'm pretty impressed how much his knowledge is transferring to the riders. And then a last shout out, we got to shout out Eris for being back in the final, and then she got 11th, but no one's seen the journey she's been on this year just to even be at that race. Yeah, and then another.
I can't believe
crash.
she's even got there at this point. You know,
I
like,
thought she was out for the year.
Yeah. So shout out to her, and I think her time will come. She's in the right team. Like, you look how Gracie's improved in that team. If Eris can, like, just, you know, like, ride the coattails a little bit, she's gonna be there. You know, like, it just she's had no off season, no training, and she's weak. So if she can still get 11th or qualify 7th as well out of Q1, then that's amazing. Like, she can do a lot when she actually gets the right build up, probably for next season now. But she'll keep building through this season. It's just hard if you don't have that off season base.
Yeah, it's good to see Jess being pretty consistently, like, right in the top 10 as well. I feel like she's one of those ones that hasn't had a consistent season for so long. And she's staying pretty solid. So hopefully, like, I reckon if she makes it through this season, has a good off season, like, both her and Eris will be super solid next year.
Yeah, well, if we look last year, like, Eris, I think, had a faster time at the World Champs than Bally.
She did.
So if she can get back to strength, and then Jess should be able to win a race as well. So, like, Jess has been last year won qualifying in Baldasol and then crashed before the race, but now she's a little bit more, like, wise in her riding. Like, she had a crash, I think, in Latour on the finals day morning. So then she was like, I'll just ride to a solid result rather than go all out and have a crash. And then that's a lot smarter to do that every race than just go from the biggest high to the biggest low.
Yeah. It's crazy that we're 5 rounds, like, we're only at the halfway point through the season. It feels like it should be just about be, like, coming to a close. So it's pretty cool. There's still another 5 to go.
it's a long season. So
Big
it's
gap coming
going to be
up, though.
exciting. Yeah, summer break. We've got the summer holiday coming up. Yeah,
summer holidays. Just go and follow the tour for a couple of weeks, and it's good. That'll keep plenty of watching going on.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything in like Lake Placid or Mont Saint Anne, or are you going to give those a miss?
I'll probably at the moment I'm thinking I might do Lake Placid and US Open, but maybe not Mont Saint Anne because I've done that so many times. But,
and it hasn't changed. You're still riding over the same rocks.
Yeah. So Lake Placid's cool because it's a fresh track. And racing in the US is always really good for the crowd. So probably do that.
Me and Red Dog have both raced at Lake Placid. You didn't ask, but we'll tell you.
So we did 2009.
We raced when it was a 5K long track, the Whiteface 5K.
Bikes.
5K.
It was
5K.
huge.
Big prize.
It was probably
too,
like a 10. Was it? It was about 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was like just under 9 or something.
It was big. Yeah.
I'd really like to see a return to like old school US, like California, super dry,
Big beer,
rocky, big
Mammoth,
beer.
yeah.
Sponsored by Mountain Dew and Chevy trucks. I feel like that's the one thing that's kind of missing at the moment, because you've got the European Alps, you've got the East Coast of the US is what it is, but you don't have the big like American ski resort vibe.
Yeah.
What's the mountain range in South Korea next year? Is that like an infamous mountain range? Or?
I think it's a ski resort. So the Instagram account Toolbox Wars, which is like all the mechanics toolbox. I think that guy is based in South Korea, so he was messaging me a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said he was worried about what people will think of the accommodation, because apparently it's all owned by, run by like one business or something, and it's So we'll see. But I said it can't be that bad. I said there's plenty of countries in Asia where it would be worse, or like you'd think it'd be worse. But I think people just need to travel more. If they're going to call it the World Cup, it should be the World Cup. But then I do wonder how many teams are going to actually afford to do this massive World Cup. Wow. If you have 6 riders.
It used to go to Brazil. Used to go to Japan. Like we've had Australia. It should go. I don't know. They'll just have to work out their budgets and maybe not take as many staff or something. Like the flyaway rounds might just be different to, how they're set up in Europe.
You won't have 10 people on track.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the big brands must be seeing the opportunity just for exposure in a different market as well, though, right? There's so much in South America these days. Presumably, all the brands see that as a big emerging market. Like I imagine the Specialized and Giant or the rest of them, they'll see that as being more eyeballs that don't normally see this stuff.
Yeah.
Is it the Colombians? Colombians have been pretty legit in finals recently. Between
they're so good.
Yeah, like who saw that coming? So South America, like there should be more racing for these guys.
Those guys are products of the street racing too. Like that's literally the only pathway for them to get here.
That's so wild.
Wow.
That's so sick that that's so established.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's not going to be a thing anymore when they get it, like make it more and more elite for the World Cup. Like you won't be able to come in and try your luck at the start. But they've been lucky enough to get on teams from doing those street races. Really, you got Sebastian Hogan and one for Valleys, and one for I think he can get on the World Cup podium this year if he can ride his speed for a whole run. At the moment, he's riding like sections of track faster than anyone. He's just out of control.
No way.
You need to have a look on the Apple video of him trying to do bomb one section on finals morning, and he was coming in with a lot of commitment and a little bit out of control. And it's pretty sick to watch. Like he rides like that all the time. So he's definitely coming. I think he's probably going to win a race at some point in his career, just for his all-out raw speed is better than most people, and that's the hardest thing to get. You don't gain that from training or anything.
Nah.
Do you think,
as Mitch Bates says, we can work with speed?
Do you think the World Cup will ever go and race a street race one?
Oh, I mentioned to Loic, like, when you come into the street race, and he hates this. But it would be the best thing ever if the World Cup, like, that would be growing the sport, in my mind. Like, yeah, some people hate it, but then it's suddenly in front of all these people. Like,
I mean, remember the original in Lisbon?
Yeah. But if
Lisbon had everyone show up.
If
all
they
the riders, he won like 8 times.
Yeah. And it was
if they were like, it's a World Cup, we're going to go all out and build like an epic track. Like they could make something that would be amazing.
Yeah, it'd still be dangerous, but who says Thuile or Val di Sole is safe? No one. So yeah, that's the one thing I say to people is like, they're all like, oh, the urban racing is so dangerous. I'm like, yeah, but the ground doesn't change it at all. So like, you're riding on the same ground the whole time. Like, you know what's there. Like, when it's the World Cup, you come down in your final run. There can be a rock there or the rut's gone. So you crash.
Yeah, that rock that Ronan crashed into in Tasmania looked pretty hard.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That didn't move.
It wasn't soft.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I could be down with seeing, like, at a ski resort, you know, you get those ones that are right up on the mountains, and sometimes the ski run will go down past it as well. Like, you know, part trail at the top with a bit of urban section through the ski resort and then down into some more, you know, off-road trail again. That could be pretty cool.
Yeah, or just finish on the urban section into the village, you know, like that would be sick. And then then you don't need the people to go up on the mountain, like, because the uninvested fan is not going to hike up on the mountain to watch mountain bikes ride down.
No.
Yeah.
That's again going back to the skiing thing. That's how it works with a lot of the big downhill, like the downhill racing, and skiing, where they go, like, there are lodges and bars and things all the way up the side of the piste, and there's people hanging out at night time watching that shit, and the whole village is out, and it's -5, and it's a party.
Yeah. It's like a big party. That's how it should be.
More please.
All right, let's wrap things up. Who's going to win Andorra, men's and women's? Jackson. What do we got? Oh, you're going 5 in a row, you reckon?
Lower.
Yeah. He wins out.
He wins out. 6 more rounds.
He wins out.
I'm going for Loic, yeah.
Yeah, I've got Loic.
Loic was going to win the World Champs last year, and he crashed. And he surely wants to win one in Andorra. Especially, he doesn't want to win.
He must be so hungry.
Yeah, he's never wanted to win more, maybe.
Yeah. But it'd also be nice for him to get one over all the, you know, common souls home as well.
Yeah. His home too, he lives there, so yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Jackson go 5 in a row, purely just because, I don't know, regardless of love him or hate him, he's fucking entertaining. But
it's because he reacted to your gram post. That's why he wanted to win.
He did. He liked that one, which was good.
KB, I've got just on that, Jackson or Greg for your favourite mountain biker of all time? Who's he got?
I mean, it's
Jackson's
Greg.
got a long way to go. He's got a long way to go.
Jackson's got many years to go.
Even though he left the family?
Jackson is not the Fresh Prince of Big Air.
Will he beat that win record though?
Well, I mean, at the rate he's going, it could be on the way there. I was gonna say Loris for Andorra. That's my TED talk. And I think I'm gonna go back to Gracie for women's.
Yeah, I like Gracie.
Yeah. I'm going Valley.
I'm going Valley too.
Yeah.
I would just like to see Valley not race with her massive cell phone in her pocket. That's all I ask.
iPhone Max.
Yeah. Can someone get her phone number and just start calling her non-stop, like right before her run?
I'll drop the number on the next show.
Isn't that called doxing? Oh no, that's where you get their home. That's where you put their home address out.
Physical address.
Yeah. Let's not do that. Let's not go that far.
Really appreciate that. I'm sure.
Should love it. I'm sure one of the Oren brothers is probably going to win junior men, so probably not much point of going too deep into that one. Yeah. And the junior women's, I don't know. It
Tyler's
seems to be
win that.
Tyler. I mean, I'm down with Tyler winning the race. That'd be good.
Yeah.
The junior woman, I don't know. It's hard to say. They seem to all be real up and down.
Yeah. Then probably Rosa or Aletha, surely in the junior woman.
Aletha's got a taste for it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's won one. So.
And it's a more of a US style track. So I'm thinking like some US riders will do well this week. Hopefully Aaron does really well. He's good on this track, yeah. Maples too, yeah. Yeah.
Maples. I mean, Maples has been solid. Could be on for a podium.
I'd love to see it. For me, it's my least favourite track of the season, but it's just fast and dusty. Yeah.
Is it better than the?
Looks scary.
We've had 3 different Andorras now. Like, is it better than the others? I don't know. The one that finished down in town looked pretty good.
The one into town is iconic. Like, that's a track with every single base covered. You know, like fast, flat,
steep,
physical, and then steep.
The first one.
Nah.
That was the second one. The first one was in 2000, super early. Yeah.
That was like side. Yeah. That was like side hilling. You just side hilled along the side of the hill the whole way. There was like no turns in it.
It is by far the worst venue. Like, it's so far away from the actual town and pits. It's like so awkward. It is a really bad venue. Like, you can't. At least the side hill one, you could get there on lifts from the top of the main lift. Now you've got to like go up, and if you're like a privateer, you have to get your stuff in a shuttle van that takes you over to where the finish area is.
Fuck.
So you're like,
that's annoying.
It is so awkward for a venue. They obviously just pay the money and do whatever they want.
2 things I remember from the original Andorra. One was JD Swegen's bike falling off the lift during practice, I think, and got absolutely smoked. And the other was they put Steve Smith's bike on, and it was like a wheel hanging one, and they stuck it on the valve, and it ripped the valve out. I think this would have been tubes days. Yeah, it ripped the valve out of the tube going up for qualifying, I think. And this was like days when people weren't prepared going up with multiple spare wheels and shit like that. And he didn't even get to do his I think didn't get to his qualifying run, or it was There's a couple of my Andorra memories. And then the Athertons won. G and Rachel won downhill, and Dan won 4-cross. That was pretty cool.
Sam Hill landed in the snow.
Yeah, he did. Nathan Rankin did a backflip, and I got put in town.
So. Oh, what did that story come up on just recently? That came up.
It was on my Wyn TV because Jess never heard this story, so Marshy had to tell it to Jess.
That's right. I was there with Brooke and his mum, and I remember Yvonne, his mum, waking us up in the middle of the night, being like, "Wyn's in jail. I just got a call in. Wyn's in jail." Like, and this was before we had cell phones or anything really with us, and somehow like you'd called the hotel, or somehow she found out in the middle of the night. Oh man! And that was going to Fort William after that. We were just. I don't know, were you staying at the same place we were or something?
Yeah, I was at the same hotel with Brooke and his mum.
Yeah, and that's right.
That's so good.
I had to get Marshy to take all my stuff and just leave my passport at the hotel.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if that came out this weekend, like Dylan Maples has been locked up?
Yeah.
Next weekend. Imagine the commentary
Someone's broken their collarbone.
Because everyone would know. They'd be like, and so Dylan's just arrived just the day before qualifying.
Newsflash on UCI World Series Instagram. Rider arrested in Andorra.
Yeah.
Questionable whether he will start in Fort William.
And that's just one of the things that would have happened as well. Because there would have been 4 or 5 others. Yeah, and like one of the juniors, one of the top 3 juniors.
Rankin's broken collarbone. Rankin paid for that broken collarbone for ages. Oh man, that was a different time. I mean, you're still racing, but man, we raced in a good era. That was
you're,
pretty
you're
enjoyable.
still racing, KB. You're still racing.
Imagine starting now, though. If you just started now, it's pretty.
Ah, man.
Yeah, it's not quite the same, is it?
How good would it be
We had
if
a good
Jackson
time.
just got really comfortable at this level? I mean, he obviously is. And then just next year just started being a complete loose unit. Just getting real steamed after races, but just kept going like that.
Like a
That'd be
Nathan
good.
Rennie type situation.
Would make the sport cool again.
Chris Kavarik.
Yeah.
But I did ask him in my interview about his supplements or caffeine, because he does have the most hype, and he said, he takes quite a lot to get hyped up. So yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Does he actually just eat
guys,
caffeine just to get pumped?
Oh, he's taking a lot of supplements, yeah.
Really?
So he's fired up. You see his
Pre-workout.
eyes. I look at his eyes when he's in the finish area sometimes, and he's peeking.
Oh, he looks like he's fizzing when he gets to the bottom. You see him in this race, right in the last sector. There's a section where it's like he was trying to get more speed, and it's like he was pushing the bike, like he was trying to make it go as fast as he could, and there wasn't any more speed to be made. Busy kid.
Him and Ronan are probably testing the highest levels of caffeine post-race. Ronan can't hardly talk sometimes. He's like...
We give this a laugh, KB. Let's book out a weekend and we'll go and drink 10 coffees and then go riding and see what happens.
I think if you do peak your caffeine levels, it is a performance advantage for a downhill race.
All right. Okay, let's book that in the summer, KB.
You're going to do a race.
All right. Yeah, all right.
We're going to go and find a race.
There's a club race coming up here in August, Chris. You can race that.
I'll tell you what, if I can ride your 26-inch V10, then I'll do it.
It's just hanging on the wall.
And you have to go cold turkey on coffee the week before, so that it hits harder.
Just hit real hard.
Yeah, no. If you can send me a Focus Gary, I'll do it.
Yeah, Focus Gary.
We'll go coffee detox. Fuck, that'd be gnarly. We'll get coffee detox for a week, and then just punch 10 in the morning. That'd be awesome.
And then you'll be running around the finish area.
Would be away. Yeah,
we'd have to document this.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. It's probably about bedtime here, so we really should wrap it up. Thanks again to Maxxis and Fox Suspension for bringing you the podcast. Virus Brand for helping out the Fantasy League, and you remember you can use that OTB Podcast 15 code with them. Thanks for joining us, Wyn. We always appreciate your time.
Yes, it's been good. Been good to have a yarn again.
It's always good to have some factual information from the race.
Yeah, and thanks to Wyn's family for loaning him out for the 1.5 days that he's home.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me coming along, Wyn.
We're all quite busy, so it's not too bad.
No, that's good. And with that, we'll see you next week after Andorra.
Eric.
Yep.